Okay, Darren, here we go. Another preview of the 2026 Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships there in Asheville. The Saturday evening sessions as we have Samford and Furman at 6 p.m. And then we have the Nightcap, Mercer and Western Carolina. We've already talked a little bit. Western Carolina, the hottest team in the Southern Conference. Yep. And we don't know what's happening, though, with ETSU and Wofford. They're going to be waiting the winners of Friday, and we're recording this before those games have been played, but we'll break down those games also. But when you look at this first matchup, Samford and Furman, and we know that Furman was able to sweep the regular season series, but throw those records out right now. Samford, as much as we want to talk about Western Carolina playing really well, don't forget about Samford now. And we just had the news earlier that Jaden Booth has been named the Player of the Year in the Southern Conference. So big news there coming out of Homewood, Alabama for Jaden Buckets, as we should say. We do know that.
Pick up this team here.
But you have – yes, exactly. That's right. But when you look at this game, I mean, this is a matchup between two teams who are very efficient offensively.
No, it's interesting. I mean, in my notes, I've got two very similar styles of play. Like they know each other's script, right? And I think you have pound for pound the hottest team in the league coming into this game. Yeah, and you got the hottest team, I think, pound for pound in the Samford Bulldogs coming in to this conference tournament. I know that Western is riding a 6-game winning streak, but I think when you look at the totality of it, I think this Samford team is really the scariest team in the league coming into this conference tournament. So from that perspective, I do think a tough matchup for the Furman Paladins to have to face Samford in the first round. And like you said, you come conference tournament time, throw whether you split, whether you swept, throw all that out the window. It's conference tournament time. This is when you got to put your big boy pants in play. With both of these teams, I think they're relatively evenly matched. I know that Furman has been a little bit inconsistent at times, but I think both these teams are pretty evenly matched on paper. For Samford, I really look at this thing really coming down to the Norris brothers. They scored 5 and 6.
Oh yeah, they're the X factors.
They scored 5 and 6 points respectively in the two matchups previously, and they have been really, really good, both of them, since kind of right around after the second Furman matchup. So I really look a lot of it to those guys. If the other guys that we expect to do their part for Samford do their part, and both Norris brothers are in double figures, I think Furman's got themselves in for a handful, and I think conversely, Samford is going to be in pretty good shape in terms of their ability to go out and win this game.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. And I think this is going to come down to the perimeter also. I mean, you mentioned the Norris brothers, and Keaton Norris, he can get hot also from the three-point line. It's not just about Jaden Booth. We know Dylan Faulkner is not going to shoot the three. He's all inside the paint. That's all he does, but he's a double-double machine. I look at it from that perimeter perspective because Samford is leading the SoCon in three-point field goal percentage at just over 38%. But now Furman does a really good job defensively holding teams to below their average. And right now they're second in the conference holding teams to 32%. So I think this is going to be a strength on strength type of situation and who's going to be able to get hot. And that also dovetails right into Furman's inconsistency that we've seen this year because they haven't been consistent from the three-point line. And it's somewhat of a mystery why they haven't been able to shoot at a higher percentage collectively, because when you look at Tom House, when you look at Asa Thomas, and even when you look at Alex Wilkins, I mean, those guys can light it up. And don't forget about Charles Johnston, who can step out there and pop it from beyond the arc. Yeah, and it's crazy to think that. But also, I think there's a situation where Furman sometimes leans on the three-point shot too much. They are so effective in terms of the pick and rolls and getting in the paint, and Alex Wilkins getting downhill and getting touches in the paint. I mean, you need to focus on that, especially when you've got the front court size where Samford doesn't have that same type of front court. Now, Dylan Faulkner can be physical, but you've got Johnston and Cooper Bowser there. I mean, that's a tough matchup for Samford.
It is. And to your point, but a couple things I pull out of that to kind of extract further are, look, if you can get Alex Wilkins, attacking the rim, and you can put pressure on the rim with Cooper Bowser and also get some stuff going inside with Charles Johnston, I think you've got a really good chance to get the Norris brothers and Dylan Faulkner in foul trouble. Because if you're continually putting pressure on that rim, there's just going to inevitably be too many times that pressure is going to result in a foul call. And now you start digging into that bench with Samford, and you start taking away their consistent lineup that has been really good. Now you really do start to wonder, okay, hey, can Furman now loosen things up a little bit because they've gotten it going inside? Can they spray a little bit on some paint touches now and loosen the thing up so that guys get, feet set, open three-point shots, which when Coach Ritchie's offense is operating in its most efficient fashion, you're getting 2 feet set, good three-point looks for three-point shooters. And, look, Asa Thomas and Cooper Bowser, they didn't play in either matchup against Samford. And those are two key pieces. And obviously Asa Thomas being really, in my opinion, kind of the X factor. When he scores 15 points a game, we talked about before, when he scores 15 points in a game for Furman, they have not lost all year. So I really look to see, can Asa Thomas, can he get to that 15-point mark? And if he does, I do really like Furman's chances here. But you mentioned 2 other guys, Tom House and Charles Johnston. If Furman wants to make a run this weekend, those 2 guys are going to have to be consistent double-figure scorers for the Furman Paladins, or they're unfortunately not going to be able to make a run deep into this conference tournament, in my opinion. And both those guys, by the way, that I just mentioned, are very, very capable of putting up significant numbers
no question.
in any given game.
Yeah, hey, and don't forget about the rebounding ability from Charles Johnston. So there's no doubt he can be a big part of the success for Furman because he is a double-double machine. Also, now I think it comes down to basically 4 things in this game. Protect the three-point line. You're going to have to do that. Win the rebounding margin. Manage the pace. Also here, you've got to not get in a track meet, but hunt the advantages in that pace and getting some of those transition opportunities. And then interior efficiency. Furman is so good interior, but we also know Dylan Faulkner is good interior. So who's going to have the opportunity? I think it's going to come down to, for Furman to win this game, though, ultimately, they're going to have to shoot over 36% from beyond the arc.
I agree.
And then you're going to have somebody like Jaden Booth have a cold night. But I think Samford's going to take this game. I think they're just playing extremely well. They've got some momentum going. And I see somebody like Zion Wilburn being a player that makes an impact in this game. Not to say that you won't see that from some of the stars, but there'll be somebody that we won't expect. And I think it's going to be somebody like that will take over and be a big part of the reason why Samford's able to win.
And I think throw in one other thing too, and this is been kind of polar opposite for both teams. Samford has taken care of the basketball consistently all year. Furman,
no doubt. Yes, they have
struggled taking care of the basketball. If Furman turns the ball over a ton Saturday night, I'm really, really concerned for their chances. So they really need to take care of it. And I would like to see them potentially be able to turn Samford over a little bit more maybe than they have as well, because this is, as you mentioned, this is a really good statistically, a really good defensive team in the Furman Paladins. And so can they get some turnovers to generate some easy points, which again could hopefully maybe take some pressure off them in the half court. Man, it pains me to say this. It does. And in fact, for the record, this is going to be the first time all year I see a scenario that Furman can 100% win this game. But
they can win the whole entire tournament.
But gun to my head, I just really like trying to be as objective as I can here. I really like the way Samford's playing, and I have to go with Samford here as well.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, it's going to be a fantastic game, regardless of how it plays out, one team or the other. And I get it. Hey, you've got a little bit of allegiance to Furman. Used to coach there, so it might be used as reverse psychology for the Paladins there.
Hey, Paladin Nation, I hope I am wrong.
All right, the next matchup, Mercer and Western Carolina, the 4 and 5 seed.
Man.
I mean, this is a big-time matchup. You're talking about offensive efficiency. We already talked about with both Samford and Furman. Don't forget about Mercer. My goodness, I mean, leading the conference in offensive efficiency. And we also did hear the news that Baraka Okojie, first team All-SoCon, and Defensive Player of the Year, Armani Mighty. Now, he's sharing it with Cam Morris III at ETSU. So congratulations are in order for those two players there for Mercer. And when you look at this matchup, I mean, again, this is a situation where how is Mercer playing in terms of being able to get downhill, get some paint touches, but also can you have some guys that can contribute? And we've said the same thing for Western Carolina. Outside of the stars, can you get other guys in some double figures here for Western Carolina? But I think this is going to be, something where it's all about the interior presence with Armani Mighty, because I do think that if he gets going, that just creates a different type of spacing for Mercer's offense. And that's when those guys like a Zaire Williams, a Quentin Perkins II, they can get going.
Yeah, and the two guys that you mentioned there are two guys that I had circled. I think especially in this game, because Western Carolina has 4 or 5 guys that can very easily score it. They have guys that offense is easier for them than a lot of other teams. And so the way they've been playing, it's not been hard for them to get 4 and 5 guys in double figures. Yeah. I think this is going to probably be an offensive-oriented game. And I think for Mercer to be able to score with Western, I think we're going to need to see double-digit games out of Quentin Perkins II and Zaire Williams because, again, broken record, but we pretty much know what we're going to get from Baraka Okojie and Armani Mighty. And the other piece of that is I do want to see, look, can Okojie continue to do what he's done, one of the best in the country at it, and get to the free throw line, right?
He is the best. He's number one in free throw attempts and free throws made. So there's no dispute. I mean, this guy lives at the free throw line. And Mercer, from an offensive production standpoint, 23% of their points come from the free throw line.
Big deal.
I mean, that's unheard of when you look at even like a Western Carolina. I mean, it's roughly 17.5% of their points come from the free throw line. So Mercer does a big time job of being able to get to the paint and drawing some fouls. And it's because of Baraka Okojie, but also you've got Armani Mighty right there as well, and just what he can do on the offensive rebounding side. So those second chance points are critical in this type of matchup. But we've seen Western Carolina, they beat Mercer. So there's no doubt they can beat them again. They split the regular season series. And so this is going to be an interesting matchup because you do have some size with Samuel Dada for Western Carolina. He can be a rim protector also, and he can match up at least physically there with Armani Mighty. But I think it's going to come down to the guard play. I really do. And Talon Petway, my goodness. I mean, he's coming on like a machine right now. So will he have the same type of production that he's had over the last 5 games in Asheville? And if he does, watch out. Western Carolina can make a run.
No, certainly. I think one of the biggest things you just said is backcourt play, and I think that's going to be a theme for the entire weekend. We're certainly going to need front courts, especially front courts that have guys, have dudes. Those guys are going to need to play well, but I think it's going to be backcourt that is really going to take whoever wins this over the top. But they, like as you mentioned, they split the season series, and you mentioned the free throw piece of it. Well, Western in the game that they won was 25 of 27 from the free throw line. So Mercer's going to have to keep Western off the free throw line. Now, both these teams were great at home, and both teams won the home games. But neither of these teams, one of their Achilles heels has been playing on the road. So you got two teams that haven't been great away from the crib playing on a neutral site. I look at Okojie getting to the free throw line, like I said, an efficient three-point shooting. whoever shoots it better from the three, I really think it is going to be in the best position to win this game. And I look at Mercer. I think if Mercer makes 8+ threes, I think they win the game. Now, conversely, if they don't shoot it great, I kind of feel like the same goes for Western here from a 3-point makes perspective.
Yeah.
But I think that really holds true for Mercer. Like I look at Mercer having the upper hand in this game, and especially so because of other things that they can do, like the mighty factor. If they make 8+ threes, I just combine that with the free throw shooting. I just don't see how they lose this game, and I'm taking Mercer here to win this game. I think they are just going to have a little too much for Western Carolina, despite that 6-game winning streak.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's something that, Western Carolina, I wouldn't say that they've reached their ceiling, but it's a tough matchup to continue this winning streak. And I think that's the unfortunate thing for Western Carolina. But they can still win this game. There's no doubt about it. But I do think Mercer will win, and especially if Mercer gets to the line more than 20, gets to the free throw line more than 20 times, it's going to be tough to beat them. Now, if Western can do the same thing, then, that neutralizes that. But I think it comes down to neutralizing the second chance points. You got to keep Mighty off the offensive glass. Discipline in the paint. You can't foul. You just cannot put Mercer on the free throw line. And same with Mercer. I guess you could say that, for Western Carolina. And I think there's something about this transition versus half-court type of offense. Mercer wants to get up and run when they have the advantages, and they're going to push the pace more. So, again, it's not going to be helter-skelter and just run up and chuck shots up there. But I do think that Western Carolina wants to slow it down a little bit more and get into a half-court type of offensive set. But I'm taking Mercer in this one. I think it's going to be close, though. I mean, this is going to be a battle. The Nightcap there on Saturday night is going to be absolutely fantastic. And don't forget, we will have more previews, and also we'll be doing our own version of SoCon Fast Break Game Day live stream on Sunday right before the first semifinal game. And then we'll also be there on Monday before the finals there as we get to crown a champion in Asheville at the 2026 Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships. Until next time, may all your jumpers hit nothing but the bottom of the net.